and welcome back to the Morning Blend. In the past, most married couples had joint accounts, but separate accounts are more popular now than ever. In fact, about 28% of millennial couples keep their finances completely separate. Imagine that. So what do money experts recommend? Steve Siebold is a certified financial educator, a self-made multimillionaire, and author of this book. It's called How Money Works, the #1 selling financial book of 2020. Today, he has advice for newlyweds. Steve, what's up?
Good morning, Molly. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. You got to know this is a tough one. We mentioned it earlier in the show. One of the things that people fight about the most, couples fight about the most, is finances. Money is a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got to be honest with your partner about money, and one of the things to consider is this is really how money works: is take that $30,000 that it costs for the average wedding, get married by a justice of the peace, take the $30,000, let it grow in a good financial instrument for 50 years, and you could literally fund your entire retirement.
How about that? Wow, that's bringing it home. Not nearly as sexy as a big grand wedding. Okay, so let's talk about a few more of your other tips, because I want to get to the big debate about joint accounts versus separate accounts, starting with just honest communication.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be honest about how you spend money. Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you an investor with your spouse or your soon-to-be spouse? Because, like you said, people fight about money probably more than any other topic, or certainly in the top 3 or 4. And so you've got to be honest. Honesty really goes a long way in this with this topic.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point in your notes of reasonable spending, because it means different things to different people. So get real about what you really think is reasonable. Next one is who pays what. And I think with millennials, especially if they're keeping everything separate, one person might pay utilities, one person might pay the mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you want to be very clear about that. So if one person makes a lot more money than the other person, well, that person possibly can contribute more, especially if you have separate accounts, because I think that could be a good thing for a lot of couples, but it also could lead to a little bit of mistrust, and who knows? I mean, it's different for everyone, of course. So do what works for you. But yeah, I would be very clear about who pays what and why.
Yeah, and why? Interesting. Make it fair, probably, too. The next thing, I want to get to that joint versus separate account. You say, and here we go, create a joint account with a caveat, right?
Yeah, I would think a joint account, would be probably the best way, because if you're integrating your lives together, probably you want to integrate your money together, and maybe you have a separate slush account for maybe just kind of fun things that you don't need to. It's such a small amount of money that you don't need to share that expense with you. Maybe you're drinking wine and you're ordering things on Amazon. You don't want to tell your partner, and you can afford to do that. Maybe a slush account. Not that I do that personally, or anyone I know does that, but I heard about it on TV. But
a friend asking for a friend.
Yeah, asking for a friend, exactly. But for the big thing, joint account's probably good.
Yeah, interesting your point on joint accounts, and we're a little older too than millennials. So I know that people who are younger tend to see things a little bit differently, but it's a great point that, you're merging your lives. So how about merging your money? The next one I think is so important. I just got married a year and a half ago, and what you say is eliminate redundancy. For example, we both had a Netflix account.
Right, exactly. And my first question is, Molly, what were you thinking? I'm kidding. That's a joke. No, but you're right. Redundancies are easy to do. We found out a couple of weeks ago that we had 5 Netflix accounts, and I don't know why exactly. We goofed it up somehow between me and my wife. We've been married for 37 years, and so we were paying 5 accounts, and we used one. We just overlooked it on the bill, on the statement, and it's easy to do. So make sure that you're not both signing up for things and paying paying multiple times.
Yeah, that's definitely unnecessary spending. The next one is tax structure. I think this one is so complicated, and this was one that I really had a lot of questions about.
Yeah, you want to know how the tax structure works. That this is how the wealthy really look at money. Taxes is their number one favorite thing because the government wants your money. So, for example, filing and of course consult your tax professional for this. I'm not a tax professional, but filing jointly is probably better. And then also consider if you're employed, having a small business where you can write off any losses and you'll pay a lot less in taxes. But of course, talk to your tax professional first.
The last one, we're running out of time. So important. You make this point that love and money are not the same thing, which I think is awesome. But it has to do with deciding how to confront financial issues because it's going to happen.
Yeah, everyone has different spending habits and saving habits and investing habits. It's really easy to blame your partner. And when I used to do this when I first got married 100 years ago, I would say something to my wife about spending, and then it would come back on me. She wouldn't say much. She's stealth like that, but she would come back, 3 months later when I would spend money I shouldn't have spent. And then I learned, just play it easy because you're going to probably want to spend on something that you shouldn't spend on, and you kind of go back and forth with it and try to work it out.
Yeah, and figure out how you're going to decide those issues. So much good information, Steve. It's always a blast to see you. Thank you so much for your time and insight.
Thanks, Molly. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And to rewatch this segment or perhaps send it to a couple who recently got engaged or they're thinking about it, you can go to our website. It's themorningblend.com. All right, still ahead today, how to make